Peanut the chicken. That's Peanut. She's the friendliest chicken we have. She'll let you hold her. All the other ones really don't want you to, unless you have food. But anyway, that's Peanut. This is what I've done with my camper. There's a bucket. So I've got aluminum tubing. I had some sticks of this, and I barely had enough for the three sides right here. So you can see I've got a piece that I had to add on to. I had a short piece of it that I welded onto that, and that went over there. We have some of these long pieces here that I get at work that we have cut off from parts that we make for another company. And they usually go in the scrap bin, but they made good braces for me for this. So they're just 1-inch tubing, but for a corner brace, it works out pretty good. I did this one shorter because I want to put an 8-foot tarp deal right in here. So I'm probably going to have to come down and over or something. Hadn't really made up my mind what I'm going to do there. I've got a plasma cut me another bracket similar to that to go over here in this corner. And then I've got to put 2 braces from here to there and from there to there. And that'll be that. So this is steel. Obviously it's different material, but this is what I could get. I built this with basically spare parts. So right now, I have this set up, and that's basically just a trailer hitch that I welded on there, and that goes into it. And really that was just kind of a really quick temporary way to get something up. So that was the idea there. I am going to move something back here. So essentially back here, I'm thinking I'm going to come down that way to make myself some sort of brace for this side. And you can see it's braced here, it's braced there. It's not super sturdy yet, but it will be. I've got to put a few more braces on it. But I'm thinking if I basically make a bracket type deal here and then put myself a flagpole type mount right here where I can just set one of those flagpoles in, just like I've got here. See, it's just a socket essentially that's going down into. And that literally was just something I threw together really quick out of exhaust tubing for a truck. Actually, just happened to have a piece. And it fits down in there really, really well. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to make something similar to this back here, but it'll just be a permanent mount. It'll offset slightly, and it'll probably be picked up to where the bottom of the flagpole will be in this area. It'll be above the headlight, and that way it gives me another foot or so off the ground. You can see that one is right at frame level, but as long as I can extend it up with my hands, that's all I really care about. Which, actually looking at it, if I don't have a ladder, it's kind of high here, so I may have to put it at the same level as this one so I can extend it out. I've also added this. So those are the helm sticks that I was working on earlier. Hadn't extended out the whips or anything or tuned it, but I was just testing the mount. So that's actually a mount that we got, I don't know, I got it out of some junk we were throwing away at work, but it's actually a pretty decent mount. I'm thinking this might not live here permanently. I might actually do a socket type deal for this type setup. Not really sure how I'm going to do that yet, but what I was wanting to do was where it pivots here, set up something where that can pivot that way or that way, to where if I wanted to sort of aim that way or aim that way, I could. And what that would do is it's broadside to the antenna. So if I've got a 40-meter dipole here and I point it this way, I'm going to shoot my 40-meter signal there. But that is a 10 meter dipole, or a 10 meter vertical. If I do this, it's going to shoot that way. And I guess into the ground this way, so maybe I'd get some bounce that way too. But that would give me kind of a way to aim my signal with those. But that setup is probably going to go on my truck over there eventually. And I'll just make something similar for over here. I've got another one of these boxes right here that I'm going to make. I just hadn't done it yet. But I've got this end of my tubing opened to where I could actually extend out this way if I wanted to. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that yet, but I like the option to do it. This is one thing that's kind of neat. So this is a spool gun from Harbor Freight. They're not really that expensive. It actually seems to work really well from what I've seen. I've had it for a while, and my welders usually live in here. But that spool gun lead is like 10 feet. I've got another one in there that I actually use with this welder as well. So that's my kind of permanent spool gun welder that I just leave there because it got busted up and some of the internals are messed up. But it works great for a spool gun. And then this one is usually my main welder that I use for everything else. So I've just rolled it over to the door here, and then I had made up this extension cable there. So I think it's like 20 something feet, but I've just got a gas line that hooks into the welder there. And then I found these connectors right here, a male and female version of them. And then I've just got a power lead. I don't know if that's, and you can see my ground's kind of chimsy, but it worked. I didn't quite have enough. Well, hello, Shelby. How are you? And what I've got, watch out, Shelby. Hey, girl, will you quit it? Quit. So I've got the other end of my gas line here. I 3D printed this connector for the other end of that cable. And then I've just got a female socket there. So it's basically just an extension cable that I can plug my spool gun into. And what I did here is I took the end of this lead is made to go into that spool gun in there. So I took this apart. I took just this piece and I drilled into it and then drilled and tapped it this way and basically made a connector that cable, just a short piece of cable, will go into. So I've got that particular type of connection, and I can get, you know, right at 30 feet away with the included line here, and I was able to weld every bit of this up without having to take my welder out. So anyway, it's kind of nifty way to do things. I'm still going to have to find me a better way to do a 2 meter 70 centimeter antenna, which I will eventually do. But to be honest with you, you know, 2 meter 70 centimeter does okay, but here, porch light. There's Shelby. Oh, and by the way, these particular helmets from Harbor Freight, I've got their most expensive one all the way down to the cheapy $40 ones. And this one seems to work really well. One of the things that I like about it is a lot of their helmets, some of them, the sensor is up here, and some of them it's down here. With this particular helmet, I can take that inside piece and flip it around where the sensor is up here or down here. Depending on how I use it, a lot of times, if it's down here, it'll mess me up. If it's up here, I can see. So I've been welding stuff and something shroud this, and then next thing you know, you're blinded. So, anyway, it's just something to consider, I guess. But yeah, I've got that welded there. I am going to put me a small brace down from here to there. And then, of course, like I said, from here to there, and then from there to there. So it'll be braced quite a bit better than it is now, hopefully. And the idea of putting my flagpole and stuff back here is, here's my antenna mounts, or connectors, or whatever you want to call them. My my idea is the shorter I can keep my coax, the better. So my coax will come straight down right into there. And that would give me the shortest run of coax, so the least amount of loss I can possibly have. But yeah, it's starting to come together. To be honest with you, I do a lot of stuff for functionality. It don't look pretty. I realize that. It's ugly as sin. But it works. I'll get up there and clean up some of that stuff, but it seems to do exactly what you want it to do. So I'm debating with this frame, I can come across with some pieces and basically make a platform up there. And what I thought about is you could actually pitch a tent up top if you wanted to. So you could have people sleep up there if they wanted to, or I could put solar panels up there and you'd have a way of powering the thing, having a bunch of solar panels up top. So not sure if I want to do that yet, or which direction I want to go, or if I want to do half and half. But what I thought about is, if you do have people that do that, I could make like a little ladder type deal on one of these. You know, maybe this one, I could take some pieces and come out, where you'd have a way of actually going up and onto it, and just weld some stubs that stick out, you know, yay far, and alternate each side, where you could just grab and climb up it and do that. And if I did that, you could actually stand up there and then add your mount up here for your telescoping pole. And if it starts here, I don't know how many feet that is, but I think it's 25 feet or 30 feet. It would go 30 feet plus the top of that. You know, so if you stood up there and deployed your antenna, you're adding 10 feet or so to the height of your antenna by doing that. So, anyway, yep, that's it. So I figured I'd let y'all see it. Now, if you want a welder, those are fantastic little welders if you're just getting started. Even if you have multiple welders, that one is just so handy to get out here and just put stuff together. It does a great job. And I've got it plugged into this 10 gauge extension cord, and that seems to help it a lot. And again, I weld a lot of stuff. I use really expensive welders at work, and these little Harbor Freight welders really do the trick. They're really nice welders. So have a great day, and hope I give somebody some ideas on some stuff. So there's my camper. Just got a little bit more to do with it. So have a good day.